All right, so in this video, we're gonna be covering the rule of three. This is the most powerful mixing technique that I learned in order to really level up my mixes in a massive way. So I'm super excited to be sharing this with you. The rule of three is a rule that basically says, so if I increase a instrument by 3 decibels, that is a 200% increase in the sonic energy of that sound. So if I have my, say, bass guitar, I have my bass, and I increase it by 3 decibels, that is the same as a 2x increase of sonic energy. So this is sonic energy, which is also equal to a 25% increase of perceived volume. Okay, so bass is increased by 3 decibels. That is a 2x in sonic energy, or a 100% increase in sonic energy, or a 25% increase in perceived volume. So what does that mean? That means if I have a vocal and I want to make it twice as loud in terms of the scientific sonic energy, I need to raise it by 3 decibels. If I want to double that, so if I want to essentially make the perceived volume be double, then I have to increase this by about 9 decibels. Energy, sonic volume, and perceived volume are different. So I just want to make sure that's clear to you as you're going forward, because this is very critical to understand. So, because if we increase something by 3 decibels, yeah, it sounds a little bit louder, but it's not that significant. But it is significant when we want to use this rule for other things. For example, if I want to balance my bass guitar and my kick drum so that they're both equal inside of the mix, how do you think I would go about that using the rule of three? Well, if I have my bass guitar playing and it's soloed inside of the mix, and then I add my kick drum to it, how much increase of volume should occur if they are exactly equally balanced? Remember, 2x sonic energy is 3 decibels. So if my bass guitar is here, and then my kick drum is, again, has the same amount of sonic energy, and then I add them together, so you add those together, you'll end up with this. If this is, say, 24 decibels on its own, together they should be, or if it's minus 24, we'll say it's minus 21 decibels. So we increased it by 3 decibels by adding in this kick drum, okay? So all of a sudden, I have a scientific way to ensure that my kick drum and my bass guitar are the same exact level inside of the mix. Granted, I may not leave it there, but it is the perfect starting point of any volume balance inside of your mix. The rule of three is extremely powerful in volume balancing, which we just talked about, or it's also incredibly powerful with other changes inside of your mix. For example, if I am going to be tonally adjusting my guitar with EQ before I really start into the main part of the mix, I am going to then use my rule of three to avoid over mixing at the very beginning. Again, going back to the last lesson, incremental changes are way better in terms of getting a professional mix. So if I want to use my rule of three, I would say, okay, so if 3 decibels is basically doubling the sonic energy of any move, if I'm gonna boost the 3 kilohertz range inside of my electric guitar, I probably don't want to go beyond 3 decibels, because that's going to then end up doubling the sonic energy in that area. If I go more than that, then I'm really doing a massive change inside of my electric guitar. And if you have that mindset of that's kind of your maximum change that you want to make inside of the mix, it's gonna completely alter your understanding of EQ, because all of a sudden 3 decibels seems like a lot. But you'll see people on YouTube or in your own mixes boosting something by 10 decibels. You're like, I just wanna hear it. But ultimately, it's fine to do that to find whatever area you wanna boost, but then bring that down to 3 decibels. If you need to, you can come back to that and add a little bit more later inside of the mix, but just make those tiny incremental changes that you know are going to be improving the mix in the right direction. We're just nudging it, barely, one level by one level in the right direction, so that by the end, we're gonna have a super professional, awesome sounding mix that doesn't sound over mixed. I'm gonna be diving into the DAW now and showing you exactly the rule of 3 in action, before and after of getting kind of the baseline of every instrument inside of the mix, kind of the before and after of that process. So with that, I'll see you in the next one.